Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mucking Fun Day, where we have got a lot of different news stories that happened over the weekend. I hope you guys are doing good. Let's get into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Chinese battery maker plans to build UK's biggest Gigafactory.
And the US House majority shrinks again.
EU probes Apple, Google, Meta under new digital law.
And US salaries and office jobs are surging, and the Mega Millions and Powerball are both approaching 2 billion mark.
New French report claims young people can't identify some vegetables.
Those stories and more, which is National Tolkien Reading Day, March 25th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Let's talk about the giant Gigafactory. This is coming out of Euronews. Business from Eleanor Butler. EVE Energy has allegedly pledged an initial... Oh, I forgot to put on music. Yeah, there we go. EVE Energy has allegedly pledged an initial £1.2 billion to create a battery plant on the outskirts of Coventry, England. Some 6,000 jobs could be created if Chinese battery manufacturer EVE Energy goes ahead with proposals to build a gigafactory in central England. The plant, backed by an initial £1.2 billion or 1.4 billion euros of investment, would become a central component of the UK's Centre of Electrification, a new investment zone that seeks to capitalize on green technology, because nothing is allowed to exist if you can't capitalize it. Of course, according to the Sunday Times, which first reported on this discussion, the preliminary project would have an output of 20 gigawatt hours, which would subsequently be ramped up to 60 gigawatt hours. We do not comment on media speculation, a spokesperson from the West Midlands Gigafactory told Euronews Business. She added, West Midlands Gigafactory is the only available site in the UK that sits within an investment zone and has planning permission for a large-scale battery manufacturing facility. We are in discussions with a number of global battery manufacturers, but these remain confidential. The expansion of the site would make EVE's plant twice the size of Nissan's electric battery factory in Sunderland, a city in the northeast of England. The UK continues to be a magnet for big investment, said Dan Coatsworth, investment analyst at AG Bell. The hot off the heels of Microsoft and Google announcing plans to spend billions of dollars on data centers in the country, chatter that EVE Energy may also spend a considerable sum on building a gigafactory near Coventry implies that foreign companies see the UK as a vibrant place to invest. I guess. The report project follows last year's pledge from Tata Group, the owner of Jaguar Land Rover, to build an electric battery plant in Somerset, England. However, despite these victories, some groups are concerned that not enough is being done to support the expansion of UK gigafactories going forward. Last month, the Business and Trade Committee, a cross-party group of MPs, said the government didn't have a clear plan for the future of the UK battery manufacturing. The EV industry is a critical industry for Britain's future, and if we fail to act now, we risk creating a giga gap that threatens the jobs of 160,000 people working in the UK automotive industry, said Liam Byrne, chair of the Business and Trade Committee. The UK needs 100 gigawatts of battery manufacturing capacity by 2030, but we did not see a clear government plan to deliver that ambition. EVE's project in Coventry could attract up to £2 billion in private investment, but this funding will likely rely on government subsidies worth hundreds of millions of pounds. The localization of the factory already provided some incentives, and eligible businesses with the West Midlands investment zone benefit from reduced taxes. For Andy Street, Conservative Mayor of the West Midlands, securing the deal with the EVE Energy would be a victory as he seeks to be re-elected in May. Don't they always? There is, however, some concern surrounding the influence of the Chinese government in the UK. Last year, the UK Business Secretary Kemi Badenoch warned that, in the interest of national security, the nation must not become overly reliant on Chinese battery technology. Well, just make sure you learn how it works, and then you can steal it from them, and then you don't have to worry about relying on them. I'm just saying, it's not like the UK's never done that before. The EU politicians also share their fears as EVE is in the process of building several European battery factories, notably in Hungary. It is uncertain whether EVE has already secured prospective clients to buy batteries from a Coventry plant. Last year, a proposal from manufacturer British Volt to build a gigafactory in northern town of Blyth collapsed after the firm failed to secure sufficient orders. So they tried to have a British-based battery gigafactory, and then they got denied, or it fell through. So it's not like the British government, the British gigafactory people aren't trying to make them, but I guess the Chinese are the only one who are willing to actually follow through with the whole plan.
You gotta have the raw materials for batteries anyway.
Yeah.
You can't just make them from air. China's got the raw materials. England doesn't, sadly. So, what do you want to do?
Well, they might have the raw materials
start
if
the British
they
Empire.
Still have trade deals with their past colonies in Africa, for example.
They should have paid better attention to the United States when I was a colony. They have all kinds of resources. They wouldn't have to worry about it. They'd be like, England everywhere.
Well, they were too busy fighting France at the time.
The British Empire. I'm sorry?
They were too busy fighting France to pay attention to the U.S. That's why.
You know, they woke up one day and they were dominating the world, didn't know what to do.
Well, they spent so much money in France, fighting France, that they had to tax America to get their money back. That's why it all happened.
Every king had to prove he was popular by invading France. That's British history in a nutshell.
But that's my story.
Okay, so we're going to the United States. Politics news. Republican Rep. Mike Gallagher will resign early, leaving House Majority hanging by a thread. This is from the NBC News reporter. Give it his name. Jonathan Allen and Scott Wong.
There we go.
Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, who announced last month he would not run for re-election, will resign from Congress early, he confirmed on a statement Friday. Gallagher's departure before the end of his term in January is another blow to Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republicans, who have been struggling to govern and demonstrate stability in Congress. Two sources familiar with the matter told NBC News of Gallagher's plan to resign early Friday. The Wisconsin Republican then released a statement announcing that he will depart on April 19th. Gallagher informed Johnson of his decision earlier this week. Johnson, in a post on social media, praised Gallagher's extraordinary work in the House and for courageously exposing the big threat Beijing poses to the U.S. Okay. His resignation could cause more headaches for the House Republicans. Representative Ken Buck, Republican of Ohio, who also is not seeking re-election, is resigning from Congress on Friday, cutting the GOP's minuscule majority to 218 to 213. When Gallagher leaves, majority would further shrink to 217 to 213, meaning Republicans could only afford a single defection on any vote if Democrats vote together. They could only, so it'll be 217. If they get one defection, it'll be, the math doesn't add up in that little statement, but we'll see. Gallagher's decision to leave April 19th also means that there will not be a special election to fill his seat. Under Wisconsin state law, vacancies after the second Tuesday in April are filled in the general election, so Gallagher's replacement will be decided in November, and his seat will remain empty until January. A source close to Gallagher said the decision to leave was in the works and not related to anything happening in the House lately. Gallagher has a young family that he and his wife hope to grow, and the House schedule is not conducive to that, the source said. This is what all the representatives should do. They should leave after a couple of terms and go back, do a job, and never go back to Washington again. Never to be heard from. That's what they all should do. Gallagher, regardless of party, just go back and be a citizen. Let somebody else do the job. Let's try to get some people that are just going to Washington with their hand out. I'm sure he'll become a lobbyist, but who knows? Gallagher, 40, an Iraq war veteran, is chairman of the Select Committee investigating the Chinese Communist Party and serves on intelligence committees. Highly unusual for a committee chairman to resign in the middle of his term. But Gallagher, an institutionalist, first elected to Congress in 2016, has grown frustrated with his own party. He was one of 3 Republicans who voted against the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas last month. He's one of the several top Republican chairmen who are not running for re-election in November following a tumultuous House session. Early Friday, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, filed a motion to oust Johnson from the speakership over his handling of the funding of government. Oh yeah, Johnson actually funded the government, so this idiot Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to throw him out. What are you doing funding the government? We're trying to make government not work. And it follows a similar motion made by Rep. Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida, that successfully toppled then Speaker Kevin McCarthy last fall. Meanwhile, shortly after House passed its final government funding package for fiscal year 24, on Friday, retiring Rep. Kay Granger, Republican of Texas, said she would step down as chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, setting off an early battle among Republicans to succeed her in the powerful post. Unlike Gallagher and Buck, Granger said she will serve out her House term, which ends in January. In his statement, Gallagher said he worked closely with GOP leaders at the timing of his announcement shortly after the House voted to avert a shutdown and looks forward to Johnson naming a new China Committee chairman. I will forever be proud of the work I did in the Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee, chairing the Cyberspace Solarium Commission, and chairing the Select Committee from the Chinese Communist Party. Gallagher said it has truly been an honor to serve the House of Representatives. So there's that story. Is Republican majority keeps shrinking even without elections. The special elections they keep losing. Don't forget they did lose the George Santos seat earlier this year. And now Mike Johnson, who miraculously is averting shutdown by the skin of his teeth every couple of weeks, it seems, is probably in trouble of being voted out again, because it only takes one person to raise a vote, and now we're stuck with, I don't know, gridlock, and one party that can't choose a leader effectively. Plus, they got a small majority. But back to you. Or unless you want me to cover other news, I can do that.
I guess you can't complain about the complete and total degradation of a party that has really not existed for the last 10 years. Since the Tea Party started, right? That was, for me, the death of the entire Republican premise, the GOP, whatever you want to call it, did not exist.
Tea Party was triggered by a black man being elected.
Yeah.
Forget that. Ooh, Obama's scary. He's got black skin. He's going to put us all in chains.
Nothing happened. Okay.
The Tea Party turned into the Trump Party. Mm-hmm. It was so seamless. It was like, you just watch it happening.
It happened and you're like, oh, no kidding. I'm not surprised.
Obviously, right?
When it comes...
But they're leftover of the John Birch Society type people. That's all right.
The John Birch Society? What's that?
The John Birch Society, they were far right-wing nut job.
Oh, okay.
That started in the 1950s because actually started in the 40s, named after John Birch, who was supposedly the first American killed in communist China after World War II. And their big thing was that Eisenhower's a communist. And his brother was a communist. Oh, Eisenhower's brother's a communist. That was their big thing. And they just went off on Eisenhower from the right of the Republican Party. And that's where you got your Joe McCarthy's and so forth.
Ah. Thanks a lot, that guy.
Joe McCarthy was a John Bircher.
John Berger. Well, can't have your weird people without their demagogues to bow down to, and
that's what Trump
became.
The racists
Trump
on
became
their
the
side
big
too, because anybody trying for civil rights is obviously a communist too, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. Yep.
Well,
the John Bergers and the racists, natural pals. I'm sorry, go ahead.
In EU news, we have coming out of Brussels some new probes into all the social media services you know and love. I'm not sure who wrote this article. I think this article is just written by somebody. A staff writer of AFP. Among 6 firms named as market gatekeepers under the EU's landmark Digital Markets Act, along with Amazon, TikTok owner ByteDance, and Microsoft, the companies have been obliged to comply with new law since March 7th. We are not convinced that the solutions by Alphabet, Apple, and Meta respect their obligations for a fairer and more open digital space for European citizens and businesses, said the EU's Internal Market Commissioner, Thierry Breton. In a statement announcing the probes, the European Commission, the EU's antitrust regulator, said it suspects the measures the firms have put in place so far fall short of effective compliance. Yeah, because everyone knows when you self-regulate, it always works out for everyone else. I don't know. I don't think self-regulation ever works. Let me be a pessimist here. I think asking corporations to self-regulate never does anything. Sorry, what did you say?
I said it works for the old profit margin.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the only thing it works for. One of the main tech lobbying groups, CCIA, whose members include the 3 giants targeted, lambasted the probes because of course they would. They're going to defend themselves, accusing the EU of jumping the gun and acting too hastily. Wait, we haven't covered up all this bullshit we're doing in the background yet. Give us some time. Then you can probe us after that. The EU's competition commissioner, Margrethe Vestager, insisted regulators had definitely not rushed to probe the companies. Senior officials have acknowledged that changes are already taking place, but suggest they do not go far enough. Under the new rules, the Commission can impose fines up to 10% of a company's total global turnover. I love percentual fines. Oh, they're my favorite. Oh, we're gonna fine you 1,000. Okay, I'm a $1 billion company. Go ahead. Oh no, we're taking 10% of all your turnover. Excuse me? That's a lot. Yeah, I guess you should follow the rules. This can rise up to 20% for repeat offenders. So if they continue to keep breaking the rules, they can get fined 20% next, and then continually getting 20% taken off until they fix themselves. In extreme circumstances, the EU can order the breakup of a company. Unlike the traditional rules that saw probes last for years, the DMA demands regulators complete any investigation within 12 months of its start. Monday's probes are focused on whether Monday, which is today, March 25th. March 25th's probes are focused on whether Alphabet's Google Play and Apple's App Store are allowing app developers to show consumer offers free of charge outside of those app marketplaces. The Commission fears that the measures the 2 companies have taken may not be full compliant since they impose various restrictions and limitations. Alphabet is also under suspicion over whether Google search results favor its own services, for example, Google Shopping or Google Flights, over a rival. The EU slapped a whopping €2.4 billion or $2.6 billion fine on Google in 2017 over similar claims of self-preferencing its services. Google's director of competition, Oliver Bethel, said Google had made significant changes to the way our services operate in Europe, adding, "We will continue to defend our approach in the coming months." Apple said it was confident its plans complied with the DMA. Apple is under the spotlight over whether it allows users to easily uninstall apps on its iOS operating system, and the design of the web browser choice screen. Under the DMA, the gatekeepers must offer choice screens for web browsers and search engines to ensure users have more options. Meta has faced problems over its ad-free subscription model, which has already been targeted by 3 complaints since its launch in November. European users can pay to avoid being tracked for advertising, but officials were not convinced. Imagine having to pay. Don't follow me. I'm going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for that. Just get VPN or something. Or run on a browser that blocks any kind of that stuff. We have serious doubts that this consent is really free when you're confronted with a binary choice, Bren told reporters. Meta has faced an avalanche of legal problems in the EU over its data processing, including a €1.2 billion fine last year for data privacy breaches. Meta defended its scheme. We designed subscriptions for no ads to address several overlapping regulatory obligations, including the DMA, a spokesperson said. Though, to be fair, I do pay YouTube money so I don't see ads on any video. And also, I think you even give people money by watching their videos as a subscriber with premium. Or maybe that's just a myth. I have no idea. Don't take my word for it. But the point is, I see what they're going for. If you pay Facebook or Instagram or Threads money, you won't see ads on their platform. And that's it. You're just basically premium, Meta premium.
You're taking the place of the advertiser.
Yeah.
In their revenue stream.
Yeah. And I also don't think the ads on these services are that bad. Are they abundant? Yes. There's way too many. You're just scrolling through Facebook and there's like 5 ads in a row. That's annoying, I agree. So I can see why, but you could argue they're doing that on purpose so that they force more people to give them straight money instead of ad money.
Plus YouTube, they'll try to get you to subscribe, and then the ads will get longer and longer progressively as you stall and don't subscribe. Why am I getting 50-second ads now? I used to get 5-second ads,
Yeah.
Now I'm getting a whole minute of, oh boy, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
I think also back in the past, maybe in like 2016, which I consider like the golden age of YouTube, or maybe that was the downfall of YouTube. Either way, back then you were actually allowed as a creator to set your ad limits. So you could say, I want a 15-second ad to play here in the video. I want, a 5-second one at the beginning and the end, something like that. And now you're not allowed to do that. That's all in YouTube's control. So it is 100% YouTube or an algorithm or somebody is forcing these 15-second long, 30-second long ads.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you should get that.
They're getting longer and longer.
The really messed up thing about this is that I have YouTube Premium Family, so I'm paying €9 a month so that everyone in my family, which is my household really, is not getting ads on the YouTube videos, which is fine for me. I'm fine with paying that. But I tried to share it with Raj, and it would not let me because he's in a different country. Who cares? I don't understand these region locking of services. If I want
YouTube Europe is a different entity. YouTube Europe must be a different entity within the company.
I must be sending my money to YouTube Europe, and if you use mine, you're not accessing YouTube Europe or something.
If everybody used the same currency, we could just get rid of the problem. Which is, I never understood the currency thing, and I still don't understand it. Everybody could use the same currency. It really wouldn't be that hard. We just settle on currency. Really. I don't think it would. Take about 6 months, and we'd all get used to it.
I guess the problem is that, we're in such a global market right now, it makes sense to have a total shared currency, but also because of how...
Our global language.
Because of how local economies work, it doesn't work. Because I'm sure if we were using...
One language would help.
If we were using one currency, I think in Cyberpunk, which is a sci-fi futuristic fantasy, I think it was a tabletop RPG originally, card game
what about
of some sort. In that universe, they use Eurodollars, so it's a euro and the dollar combined together. And this is all based in the 80s. So the game was made in the 80s, and it's supposed to be based in right now, like 2012 and later, 2020.
Yeah.
Right? So according in the 80s, they thought we would be using a combined currency by now, but we aren't. So...
Well, it'll eventually happen. We'll all speak one language eventually. We do speak there's several international languages we already speak, like music and mathematics and computer languages are all international.
Yeah, we should just all be
No
speaking
special
in
Russian,
algebra.
yeah. English is going to be universal just because Europe has it everywhere.
Yeah. But also German and French is also very internationally spoken. French is spoken the most.
Well, just my travels around Europe, I didn't have any trouble. I had no trouble in Europe.
So.
I go to Latin America, for instance, I'll have trouble with English. I'll not find anyone speaking English. In Europe, no such problem.
That's true. Globalization, baby. Anyways, to finish the article, they're turning sour on Apple. In an additional move, the EU regulators will explore whether Amazon may be favoring its own brand products on the Amazon store. Yeah, oh, you mean like the basic Amazon Basics products, yeah. And whether Apple's new fee structure for alternative app stores may be defeating the purpose of its DMA obligations. An Amazon spokesperson said it was compliant with the DMA. Monday's announcement is one more problem for Apple, which faces a glut of legal challenges on both sides of the Atlantic. Last week, the U.S. Department of Justice sued Apple, accusing the company of operating a monopoly in the smartphone market. That was just weeks after the EU slapped a €1.8 billion fine on the iPhone maker for preventing consumers from accessing cheaper music streaming subscriptions. Apple said it would appeal the EU fine. Oh yeah, I think we talked about that. We actually talked about that. They're like, oh yeah, Apple Music you can only get for €1.80. Woo! And then it's like, oh, but Spotify is only $1.30. But we're gonna put surcharges on there, so it actually is gonna be €2 total. Yeah. So that it's more expensive than our service. Convenient. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's your more business news from coming out of EU. Looking at trying. Oh, I've seen a lot of things on social media where people are going, oh, now I have to choose which browser. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, why can't I just not think? And the corporate overlords just tell me that I should use their service. And I'm like, it's literally just choosing your browser, right? When you first open your iPhone, you try to open a link and it'll go, which browser would you like to use? And there's 20 browsers in there. And they're like, too much choice. Just choose the first one on the list. Then.
If you don't choose, and the new one, it's probably happened over the last 5 years, is Adobe Acrobat for scanning files or whatever.
Yeah. PDF, yeah.
Now my computer just, instead of doing automatically, do you want to download Adobe Acrobat? It links me to Internet Edge, the Edge browser. It opens an Edge browser window instead of Adobe Acrobat. So now I'm an Edge, and I never even opened it. And when the hell did that happen? You know, my computer decided it was because it's Microsoft, and this is our browser. That's when it was decided.
Yeah, I mean, even my phone does this, right?
Because I can't edit these documents. You know. Yeah. Anyway.
My phone does that as well. Like I have DuckDuckGo, which is like an alternative browser on my computer, on my phone for browsing the internet. And then sometimes I'll open a link and I'll open the Samsung browser. I'm like, who the fuck uses this? Why is it even opening? I don't understand what's happening right now.
It's your South Korean overlords telling you what to do.
But that's my story. Yours.
Okay, my story. I got Mucking Fun Day news briefs. U.S. salaries are surging, but first we're gonna do a little science. Geomagnetic storm from a solar flare could disrupt radio communications and create a striking aurora. This is from Boulder, Colorado. This is from AP News. Nobody's name. Space weather forecasters have issued a geomagnetic storm watch through Monday, saying an outburst of plasma from solar flare could interfere with radio transmissions on Earth. It could also make great aurora viewing. There's no reason for the public to be concerned, according to the alert issued Saturday by NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center in Boulder, Colorado. The storm could interrupt high-frequency radio transmissions, such as by aircraft trying to communicate with distant radio traffic control towers. Most commercial aircraft can use satellite transmissions as backup, said Jonathan Lash, a forecaster at the center. Satellite operators might have trouble tracking their spacecraft, and power grids could also see some induced current in their lines, though nothing they can't handle, he said. For the general public, if you have clear skies at night and you are at higher latitudes, this will be a great opportunity to see the skies light up. Every 11 years, the sun's magnetic field flips, meaning its north and south poles switch positions. Solar activity changes during that cycle, and it's now near its most active, called the solar maximum. During such times, geomagnetic storms of the type that arrived Sunday can hit Earth a few times a year, Lash said. During the solar minimum, a few years may pass between storms. In December, the biggest solar flare in years disrupted radio communications. And there's your little solar flare news. And we have our Powerball and Mega Millions news. And more mucking fun day news briefs. This is from Myrna Al-Sharif of NBC News. Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots now at a combined 1.9 million. Be sure to get your tickets. The Powerball and Mega Millions Powerball jackpots. The lottery prizes swelled after no tickets matched all 6 numbers on drawings on Friday and Saturday night. The Mega Millions jackpot grew to 1.1 billion, and the Powerball jackpot rose to 800 million. The prizes were 977 million and 750 million, respectively, on Wednesday night. The next Powerball drawing will be Monday, which is today, and if there's a winner, it would be the 6th largest prize in the game's history, according to the company. The last Powerball jackpot was won on January 1st for 842 million by a ticket in Michigan. There have been 35 consecutive drawings without a jackpot winner since then. Just imagine what the odds are of that happening. Imagine that. The record Powerball jackpot is 2.4 billion, a prize won by a ticket in California in 2022. The Mega Millions numbers will be drawn again Monday night, and it will be the 5th largest prize in the game's history. 2 tickets purchased in California split the last Mega Millions prize on December 8th. It is the only lottery game that has risen to the billion-dollar zone 6 times, according to a news release. So far, 5 jackpots over 1 billion have been awarded in South Carolina in 2018, Michigan in 21, Illinois in 22, and Maine and Florida in 23. Mega Millions jackpot recorded 1.602 billion, which was won in Florida last year. The sole winner of a jackpot can choose to be paid in a lump sum or a lump sum, which is a weird way to get paid, through an annuity for the full amount, with the annual payments over 30 years. The lump sum payment is estimated at $384 million for the Powerball and $525 million for the Mega Millions. That's me. Gimme. I'm not waiting 30 years. 30 years? Holy crap, it'll be 90. 92. No. Gimme. And you can't leave it in your will either. You got to collect the money. The odds of winning the jackpot are roughly 1 in 292 million for Powerball, a 1 in 302.6 million for Mega Millions. The odds of me winning are 0. U.S. salaries and other stories.
Specifically you. Anybody with the name the name Roger, 0 chance.
That's right. Well, again, lotteries are just a hidden tax on poor people.
Yeah.
And it's like traffic fines. If they worry about rich people might have to pay taxes. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll raise traffic fines. Yeah, there you go, traffic fines. And then we'll pull over poor people. Yeah. And salaries are even more voluntary, right? It's like, oh, you're going to be rich. The odds, again, astronomical. Look, think of how many people have won it this year. One person has won both of those lotteries this entire year, this entire calendar year. Nobody's won one of them, and only one person has won January 1st. That was the last person to win the other one. So, what are the odds? Astronomical that would happen, right? But yeah, it happened. Right? Somebody wins eventually, right? But yeah, okay. Dream on, everybody. And then good news, U.S. salaries are surging for fully in-office jobs. This is from Alex Christian from BBC. Bosses want their workers back on site on a more permanent basis. They're willing to pay a premium to do so. While many jobs still offer hybrid or remote working patterns, more bosses are mandating their employees return to the office on a full-time basis. Boeing, UPS, and JP Morgan Chase are among the large corporations that have enforced in-person attendance 5 days a week. Well, that used to be normal, in-person attendance. Oh, please come to work. But for some of these companies, getting workers fully back on site comes with a big high price tag. That is particularly the case in the U.S., which has seen the most dramatic shift to flexible working by January 2024. Around 29% of all paid work days are still work from home. Employers who cannot compete on flexibility will have to compete more aggressively on pay, says Julia Pollack, chief economist at ZipRecruiter based in California. The result is that U.S. wages for fully in-office roles are surging, according to ZipRecruiter data. Seen by the BBC, companies were offering an average of $82,000 or 64,000 pounds sterling. I'm not going to do this for every single conversion. I'm just going to do it in dollars from now on because they do this over and over again in this article. Okay, it's going to be in dollars, folks, because nobody in the United States is getting paid in pounds sterling. So companies were offering an average $82,000 for fully in-person roles by March 2024, an increase of more than 33% versus 2023, where it was $59,000 average. The trend is cross-sector compared to the hybrid and fully remote roles. Workers appear to be more likely to increase their salaries by returning to pre-pandemic office schedules. The hybrids are only 59,000 and 75,000 for fully remote. So office jobs higher by 7,000 on average. Part of this compensating for the loss of flexibility that workers have prioritized for the past few years. The greater the push to relinquish that autonomy, the more employers have to offer to compensate. The ZipRecruiter data shows that workers who swap from fully remote to fully in-office setups in the U.S. through 2023 received a 29.2% pay bump, nearly double that of those moving the other way. The conclusion is that people demand higher pay increases for fully in-office jobs, says Pollack. An employer offering flexibility can negotiate the overall compensation package with non-monetary incentives, while an employer wanting teams on-site 5 days a week can only offer financial terms. A dollar value is placed on time spent in the office, as it should. In the UK and Europe, the availability of the remote work has been scarcer. For example, in October 2023, a survey of 15,000 employers and employees in the UK showed that 43% of workers had returned to fully in-office settings. This means that the trend for in-person premium is expected to be weaker than in the US, says Pollack. In the current cost-cutting climate, offering employees flexibility over a pay bump seems like a win for both sides. Yet despite this, some bosses are willing to increase their wage bills in exchange for full offices because they believe that the trade-off is worth it, says Pollack. The expense will lead to improved business outcomes. Among some employers, there can be a perception that remote workers are less productive, she adds. Many are also psychologically and financially invested in their corporate real estate. They want to fill their workplaces at whatever cost. Yeah, they rented that big, huge office building and nobody's sitting at the desks. They're all sitting at their homes. They should tell you, hey, real estate's overpriced. This is why real estate prices go down. They always just keep doing stuff like this. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, if we're going to do supply and demand, there ain't no demand for it. So I guess you took a risk in your investment and now nobody's buying your office building.
Yeah. They're working it, trying to get There's unintended consequences of salary discrepancy, says Barbara Petrangolo, professor of economics at the University of Oxford. It could reinforce the inequities in the labor market. Those with caring responsibilities tend to prefer flexibility, and that's disproportionately women. So, if the highest paid jobs offer less flexibility, some sections of the workforce are forced to essentially give up higher paying opportunities. If bosses really want their workers in offices, the current premium offered for fully in-person work week is likely to remain for a while, say experts. There is no sign that flexible working patterns are disappearing. For example, ZipRecruiter's March 24 data shows that around 33% of professional and businesses service roles in the U.S. are advertised with hybrid or remote working. Workers still want flexibility, and there are plenty of jobs advertising the ability to work from home at least 2 days a week, said Petrangolo. So in order to impose inflexible working conditions which are unfavorable to the employee, employers have to continue to pay more. There's a story. Now you can lure people back to the office with daycare. Did you ever think of that one? Aha.
I can't afford to go into the office because I have kids.
I have to leave my kid at the thing. Well, if we have daycare here, would you go to work? Yeah, I would, definitely. I could see my kids' lunch break,
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's really interesting because this remind me of the idea that you have this argument from people who have children, right? That if you choose your career, you can't have kids, right? There's this idea that if you want to be a proper mother, you have to abandon your job and then stay at home to take care of the children. That is an idea that exists. Of course, that idea only exists because of how, as you're saying, the corporate life works. If you can just bring your kids to work and have a daycare, then you don't have to abandon your career to take care of your children, so to say. The society has created this forced scenario that doesn't have to be there, and exactly why flexibility. We just increase flexibility in working, then everyone would be happy. But people just want to keep this status quo of, you're my little robot and you need to come to the office and you need to do what I tell you, and then I'm gonna pester you also while you're home because you belong to me now because you signed that contract.
I think if you're a boss, it makes you feel like you got more control. That's all it really is. And
it's
that's what being
freaks.
A boss is about control. Yeah, you really control it. I don't know what this guy's doing. He might be staring out the window for 5 minutes. I don't know.
I mean,
the same guys that worry when you go to the bathroom too long at work.
Yeah.
What are you doing in there? Taking a crap? What do you care?
Well, you should do that
Why
at home.
Why were you in there so long? Yeah.
All right, let me just give myself a bowel infection just so I don't waste your dollar, your cents on the dime.
Right. Anyway, that's enough of that. Your story.
I mean, that's famously what people do. They'll spend their first 30 minutes at work in the bathroom. You asked me to be here. I'm here. You didn't ask me where I should be at 8 a.m., okay? I'm here. That's all you gotta know. In culture news, coming out of France, young people don't know what vegetables are, or I should say they can't identify certain vegetables, according to this French report. This is from Sylvia Omordion. According to a new study, 1 in 5 young people, which is aged 15 to 20, are unable to identify a zucchini in a photo, with 18% seeing it as a cucumber and 2% as an aubergine. An aubergine is an eggplant. The report also suggests a significant number of young people have difficulty maintaining a healthy, balanced diet. Probably because they're like, what is that? I'm gonna go get a McDonald's burger. The French government... I can recognize a burger, can't recognize a zucchini. We have failed society, or at least France has failed society. The French government, who are famously known for their food culture, French government is reportedly examining plans to increase home economic education after a new study which claims 1 in 5 young people can't identify everyday vegetables. My school got rid of home economics and we didn't learn how to cook or do anything. So that was a mistake. A survey by Harris interactive study called The French and Daily Diet highlights the disparities after a new study which claims 1 in 5 young people can't identify everyday vegetables. And the dietary disparities between different age groups and the French population. Those aged 15 to 25, which accounts for 20% of the population, cannot tell the difference between zucchini, more commonly known in France as a courgette, and a cucumber. Faced with an image of a zucchini, 18% of young people thought they recognized a cucumber, while 2% thought they saw an aubergine. Though, to be fair, and this is going to be a defense for me as an American, cucumbers in Europe look totally different than cucumbers in America. Cucumbers in America look a lot more like zucchinis, actually. They're thicker and rounder. Of course, the difference is a top. You know it's a zucchini because it has this kind of snapped off. Basically,
the ones that get mass produced in America look like that.
Yeah. Normal cucumbers in Europe are longer and like they have ridges and they're in plastic, wrapped in plastic. When it comes to other foods,
wrapped in plastic. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but we wrap it in plastic. I guess it's just to make sure people know nobody's touched your zucchini or your cucumber. I guess I have no idea. When it comes to other foods, the percentage of people unable to recognize a fruit and vegetable drops down. Grapefruit is confused with a blood orange. Oh yeah, but who knows what a blood orange is? Okay, I'm gonna give him that one. Oh, is this a grapefruit or a blood orange? What the hell is a blood orange look like unless you open it up?
Must be a big orange.
Grapefruits are famously lighter in color, so I'm not sure what a blood orange even looks like, so I can't confirm. I think that is a weird, really weird thing to specifically. Okay, the inside is red, like a blood orange, and I guess that must be the inside, right? Because this is definitely not.
There's ruby
not a
red
grapefruit. Grapefruits are pink in the inside. That's the difference. So well, maybe it's just
ruby
color.
red
People are
grapefruits
colorblind.
Texas grapefruits are pink on the inside.
Yeah.
They are.
But 16% of French people can't tell a difference between a grapefruit and a blood orange. And a lower proportion among young people under 25 this time, 12% whom make the same mistake. Cauliflower was also subjected to the same test, where only 4% of responders among those aged 15 to 24 did not know how to answer, compared to barely 1% for the entire population. Following these results, Minister Delegate Olivier Grégoire has said that the government has a desire to promote more solid food education, stating that food education is both a major public health issue and an issue of purchasing power. To encourage younger generation to eat better, cook, and consume fresh products, 83% of young people agree that there should be some better information and education on food products in school. Tell me what you eat and I will tell you who you are. Although the perceived excellence of French cuisine in restaurants has long represented a vital part of the country's cultural identity, these surprising results prove that young people are not making ratatouille at home. The study shows that the consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables is less frequent among young people, as a result to most processed dishes, 44% compared to the 23%. I do also wonder if they looked at gender, because I do find that men eat way less vegetable than women, at least that I've noticed. And it also, in my mind, which this is coming from somewhere, culturally, women are more nutritionally centered, right? Like a woman eating a salad is like a normal image, but like a man eating a salad, not a normal image in my mind anyways. So somewhere out there, there's some sort of conceived bias I'm having with the consumption of vegetables. It's green. It's scary. Well, I don't know. Have you seen anything?
No, I don't.
You never noticed the consumption of vegetables around
Not really. I don't. Nah.
You don't eat them. That's why.
I don't know. People eat vegetables. They do. I just have never divvied up by gender. That never really occurred to me.
In fact, 89% of 15 to 24-year-olds prefer starchy foods, pasta, rice, and potatoes, and 40% eat canned goods and jars. They're eating jars? That doesn't sound good. More than half of young people, how they typed
glass.
it. Yeah. More than half of young people aged 15 to 24, at 59% of them eat at least once a month in a fast food restaurant, compared to 37% of the entire population. Meanwhile, only 46% of people surveyed say they cook fresh produce like zucchini and cucumber every day, or almost every day. Why are they specifically so focused on zucchini and cucumber? Also, who cooks cucumber? Yeah. That is a raw food, okay? If you're cooking cucumber, you made a mistake. I don't know why you're cooking it for. It does not taste good cooked. The whole point of cucumber is the fresh, snappy, watery, like kind of stomach cleanser of it. You can cook zucchini.
Cucumber water for customer only.
Yeah.
The cucumber water.
Yeah, cucumber is good. I don't relate to this, but I'm technically not considered a young person anymore since I'm above the age of 24. And I'm definitely... Do I have urges to eat fast food? Yeah. I don't know what it is about McDonald's fries, but it's probably just the salt. I love McDonald's fries, but only McDonald's fries. Do I want some KFC sometimes? Sure. Have I eaten actual fast food in a while? I guess if you consider Domino's pizza fast food. Pizza.
It's fast food.
Made quickly. So, definitely eat pizza probably multiple times a month. But other than that, yeah, I'm having fresh made, homemade meals. And I know what a zucchini is. So I'm not part of this study, I guess.
Well, you're not a France teenager.
That's my culture news. On to yours.
Okie dokie. This day in history would be my deal, which is we go back to the midst of time of the year 1451, where it says, according to tradition, Venice was founded. So happy birthday to Venice. March 25th, they decided to call it Venice, apparently. 1305, the Arena Chapel, containing frescoes of Giotto, was consecrated in Padua, Italy. 1655, Dutch mathematician. You can't say Dutch mathematician fast, anyway. Dutch mathematician and astronomer Christian Huygens discovered Titan, the largest moon of Saturn. 1807, British Parliament abolished the slave trade in the British West Indies. 1807. 1891, Hungarian composer Bela Bartók was born in Nagyszentmiklós, Hungary, which is now called something else I can't pronounce, Romania. Sanicalu Mare, Romania. Well, anyway, Hungarian composer Bartók was born on this day in 1891. 1911, a fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in New York City, killed 146 people, prompting the creation of a health and safety legislation. 1918, French composer Claude Debussy, whose works were a seminal force in the music of the 20th century, died at the age of 55. 1934, American feminist and activist Gloria Steinem was born, a leading advocate of women's liberation movement who helped found Ms. Magazine. 1972. 1947, Elton John was born. Happy birthday, Elton John. British singer, composer, and pianist Sir Elton John, who is known for both his popular music and his stylistic showmanship. So happy birthday, Elton John, turning 77. The Treaties of Rome were signed in 1957, establishing the European Community and the European Atomic Energy Community. 1965, in the March of History, Martin Luther King and other civil rights activists completed their march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. 2 previous marches have been halted by local police. Way to go, MLK. 1965, Sarah Jessica Parker was born. That's best known as her role in Sex and the City. And 1975, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia was shot to death by his nephew. Now, you think your family hates you. 2002, a 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck at Hindu Kush region in northern Afghanistan, causing more than 1,000 deaths. Hindu Kush sounds like, of course, a type of weed you smoke. But it's the Hindu Kush region of northern Afghanistan. Horrible earthquake, 6.1. Not the worst earthquake, but it did kill 1,000 people or more. 2021, American children's author Beverly Cleary, whose books included the hugely popular Ramona series, died at the age of 104. 104 she got. Our featured event, Robert the Bruce, crowned King of Scotland. On this day in 1306, Robert the Bruce freed Scotland from English rule, winning the divisive Battle of Bannockburn and confirming Scottish independence by the Treaty of Northampton in 1328. And by this day, in 1306, he was crowned again, controversially crowned King of Scotland. Our time capsule, March 25th, 2010. Countries of Eurozone agree on a rescue package for Greece that includes bilateral loans from members of the groups and from the International Monetary Fund to be used if Greece cannot find funding in the commercial markets. In addition, the European Central Bank announces that it will not tighten lending rules until 2011. So this day, 14 years ago, the European Union bails out Greece. Our birthdays, other birthdays today, you got Gloria Steinem. Aretha Franklin's birthday today. I wonder why they didn't list Aretha Franklin before they listed any of these other people, but Aretha Franklin, if she was alive today, would be turning 82. She was born this day, 1942. Happy birthday, the Queen of Soul. And everybody else we've already covered. Vladimir Klitschko, Ukrainian boxer, heavyweight champion. Born in 1976, and that's his birthday. And Aretha Franklin, we would also note that she was born in Memphis, Tennessee. And she died on August 16th, 2018, at the age of 76 in Detroit. What day is it? It is National Lobster Newberg Day. Lobster. And Tolkien Reading Day. And National Medal of Honor Day. So those are your 3 days for today. Only 3 of them. That's all I could squeeze out for today. March 25th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Okay. I hope everyone had a good March Madness weekend as we saw all those games. We will tally up our scores when we next have to decide who we think is going to win the next Sweet 16 rounds of both the men's and women's. It's been another mucking fun day. Tomorrow is Good Tues News Day. We will cover all the good news that we can find. And here is your mic drop moment. Take care out there.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.